Cox Automotive versus Super Dispatch, a legal complaint filed in April 2024. What are the allegations? What's it about? What are the details? Warning: this show contains fair use of public information about a pending lawsuit. It is only for educational purposes and news reporting. There is no agenda nor intent, but there is a lot to learn about the laws in our industry, and we're sticking to the facts. So please say hello in the live chat. Share your thoughts, grow your network, and learn from the best on ATI Auto Business. What's up, ecosystem? Welcome back to Industry Logistics on ATI Auto Business, where everyone learns more about the automotive industry. This is a special report from the neutral zone. Cox Automotive has filed a legal complaint against Super Dispatch in the U.S. District Court for the Western District of Missouri, Western Division. What does that mean? I want to thank you for joining me in this special live report. This is public information, and the cause of action listed is a violation of the Lanham Act. Disclaimer: the views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. Fair use of public information refers to the legal concept that allows individuals to utilize portions of publicly available information. Anyone can use fair use if the use is for purposes such as commentary, news reporting, and teaching. Get to know your ecosystem with ATI Auto Business, new, used, dealer auction, logistics, and more. We are the ecosystem's neutral zone. ATI is where everyone learns more about how the automotive industry works. This is a 25-page complaint. I have a copy here. I've underlined and made notes. What I will be doing is I have redlined my PDF copy, and with some notes of questions of fact inside the complaint. Here we go. Before we get started, Cox Automotive has released a statement. At Cox Automotive, we have invested significant time, effort, and expense over many years to develop the central dispatch marketplace. We are deeply committed to protecting our intellectual property and will vigorously enforce our rights when they're infringed upon. Cox Automotive engaged in a lengthy dialogue with Super Dispatch prior to filing the lawsuit, but were unable to reach a resolution. As alleged in the original complaint, Super Dispatch is unlawfully obtaining data from Central Dispatch and using it to prop up its competing products. In part, Super Dispatch has done this by deceiving Central Dispatch customers into falsely believing that Super Dispatch's tools are affiliated with or authorized by Central Dispatch. That is not the case. Central Dispatch is not affiliated with Super Dispatch, and there are no authorized integrations between Central Dispatch and Super Dispatch. Super Dispatch has also sought to gain unfair advantage, competitive advantage, by making a variety of advertising claims about Central Dispatch that are demonstrably false. Cox Automotive filed an amended complaint in November 2024 after Super Dispatch brazenly escalated its illegal activities by introducing new features that intruded even further into the Central Dispatch platform. We continue to welcome fair competition and a mutually agreeable resolution with Super Dispatch, but it must involve the cessation of all illegal activities. Super Dispatch has also released a statement. We are focused on helping carriers, brokers, and shippers to make their job of moving cars easier. We believe our customers and customers in every industry should have a choice. We will continue to fight for our customers to have that choice on what tools they use to run their business. Page 1, Cox Automotive versus Super Dispatch, complaint for injunctive relief and damages, alleging causes of action for false advertising, unfair competition, misappropriation of trade secrets, tortious interference with contracts and business relationships, and unjust enrichment. To prevent Super Dispatch from claiming to offer superior products and services when the products and services Super Dispatch offers were built from exploiting highly valuable trade secrets and confidential information misappropriated from Cox Automotive. For more than 2 decades, Central Dispatch Platform has facilitated the transportation of automobiles for the auto industry. In an e-commerce platform that efficiently connects shippers with carriers, Super Dispatch, a relatively new entrant in the industry, initially offered products masquerading as complementary to Central Dispatch. But more recently, Super Dispatch has begun offering a competing platform that it claims in its advertising materials is superior to Central Dispatch. Superiority claims false and misleading. Super Dispatch unlawfully acquired Cox Automotive's intellectual property, including proprietary information relating to the operation of Central Dispatch, to develop, operate, and market Super Dispatch's competing platform. Cox Automotive seeks an injunction, damages, and all other appropriate relief. Super Dispatch, principal place of business in Kansas City, Missouri. This court has jurisdiction over the subject matter. This court has personal jurisdiction over Super Dispatch. Venue in this judicial district is proper. Background. As recently as the late 1990s, vehicle transporters, known as carriers, had to rely on bulletin boards to fill the loads on their truck. In 1999, the Central Dispatch platform was launched, known as a load board. Central Dispatch quickly grew in popularity. In 2013, Dealertrack acquired Central Dispatch, and in 2015, Cox Automotive acquired Dealertrack. Access to the Central Dispatch platform is by subscription only and requires a login and password. Most listings include a price compare feature that provides rates for comparable listings. Central Dispatch allows carriers to view the listings posted by shippers and connect with a shipper to make arrangements to transport the vehicle in the listing. The shipper is then able to review the potential carrier's profile on Central Dispatch to verify the carrier meets the shipper's criteria and assign a carrier to transport the vehicle. Once delivery of the shipper's vehicle is completed, the shipper may rate the carrier who transported the vehicle, and the carrier may rate the shipper. We're now at the bottom of page 5 of 25. The Central Dispatch platform typically hosts more than 50,000 vehicles for transport and facilitates millions of transactions a year. Over 13,000 carriers with over 40,000 trucks use Central Dispatch to find vehicles to ship each week. Cox Automotive has invested significant time, effort, and expense over many years to develop the Central Dispatch load board. A variety of competitors operate public load boards. However, Central Dispatch is a subscription-only service that provides subscribed shippers and carriers with details that are not publicly available. For example, the price compare feature on Central Dispatch is only available to subscribers. In addition, a significant percentage of vehicles are posted for transport exclusively on Central Dispatch and not on other load boards. Only subscribers have access to information about shipments that are exclusive to Central Dispatch. This exclusive information includes shipper contact details, shipping lanes, volume, pricing, and carriers associated with each shipper. The compilation of data associated with shipments exclusive to Central Dispatch, including specific contacts, shipping lanes, rating, price, volume, and carriers associated with the shipper, is a highly valuable trade secret owned by Cox Automotive. The Price Compare tool provides insights into Cox Automotive customers, both shippers and carriers, that are not publicly available. These trade secrets have conferred a competitive advantage to Cox Automotive in the auto shipping industry and have contributed to Central Dispatch becoming the leading load board for spot market automotive shipping. Cox Automotive has taken reasonable precautions to maintain the secrecy of its trade secrets, including by developing security policies, secure data access and storage, and other forms of data protection, including restricting access to Cox Auto's computer network and use of secure IT systems, and prohibiting the unauthorized transfer of Cox Automotive confidential materials. Access to Central Dispatch is for subscribers only and requires a login and password. The terms of use expressly prohibiting transmit of any information from Central Dispatch to third parties, for example, to copy, scrape, reproduce, or publish. We're now page 8, Super Dispatch's unlawful conduct. Super Dispatch operates a load board called Super Load Board, which competes with Central Dispatch. Super Dispatch is using false and misleading statements to promote its Super Load Board platform, including claims that Super Load Board is superior to Central Dispatch. Super Dispatch's false and misleading statements have been made for commercial purposes and constitute commercial advertising and promotion for its Super Load Board platform. For example, Super Dispatch claims on its website that Central Dispatch lacks a way of marking the carriers that you prefer working with. The statement that Central Dispatch lacks a way of marking preferred carriers is false and misleading. As another example, Super Dispatch claims on its website that a shortcoming of Central Dispatch's rating system is the fact that it doesn't offer any form of accountability for bad users with overwhelmingly negative reviews, whereas Super Dispatch allows for detailed negative reviews and a block list. Super Dispatch's description of the Central Dispatch review system is false and misleading. As another example, Super Dispatch claims on its website that Central Dispatch does not allow for booking loads 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Super Dispatch's claim that Central Dispatch does not allow for booking loads 24 hours a day, 7 days a week is false and misleading. Another example, Super Dispatch claims on its website that Central Dispatch customer service only interacts with its members through email. Super Dispatch's claim that Central Dispatch only interacts with its members through email while suggesting that Super Dispatch is available by telephone is false and misleading. Central Dispatch provides its members with a customer support call center and interacts with customers thousands of times each week. Super Dispatch's false and misleading claims are material to the purchasing decisions of those who buy and utilize the products and services at issue. False and misleading claims have a tendency to deceive and/or have deceived the relevant purchasing public. Being guided in the creation and operation of its load board by confidential and trade secret information improperly obtained from Cox Automotive. Improperly acquiring confidential and trade secret information, encouraging customers to extract data from Central Dispatch and then load it into Super Dispatch's systems. To facilitate this illicit transfer of data, Super Dispatch markets a web browser extension, Super Dispatch Connection, and an app, driver app, that are designed to take information from Central Dispatch and import it into Super Dispatch. Super Dispatch Connection creates an Import to Super Dispatch button that is displayed to carriers viewing Central Dispatch password-protected web pages. Clicking this button auto-populates the information. Connection was previously called Super Dispatch Importer. The Super Dispatch driver app similarly allows carriers viewing Central Dispatch password-protected web pages to import information about a Central Dispatch load into Super Dispatch. Picture of the mobile app at the bottom of page 13 of 25. Super Dispatch also obtains information from shippers posting to Central Dispatch. Using an integration of Central Dispatch in Super Dispatch platforms, Super Dispatch obtains Central Dispatch members' UID, a unique code provided to the member of Central Dispatch, their login and password, with instructions. Super Dispatch even purports to instruct its customers on how to obtain a UID from Central Dispatch so that the customers can then provide the UID. Super Dispatch entices customers into providing their Central Dispatch logon information to Super Dispatch by suggesting that they can post on both load boards. However, when Super Dispatch uses this system to post a load to Central Dispatch, Super Dispatch first posts that load to Super Dispatch's Super Load Board exclusively and not to Central Dispatch for a minimum of 120 minutes. The information is not publicly available information. Rather, it is Cox Automotive's confidential and trade secret information, including proprietary information such as volume, specific contacts, shipping lanes, ratings, pricing, and carriers associated with the shipper. Throughout the time it has induced Central Dispatch customers to use Super Dispatch Connection and Driver app, Super Dispatch has been aware of the Central Dispatch terms of use. Super Dispatch has induced and continues to induce Central Dispatch customers to violate the terms of use by importing information into Super Dispatch's systems. Super Dispatch has improperly acquired and continues to improperly acquire confidential and trade secret information from Central Dispatch customers. Super Dispatch Connection and Driver app were initially marketed as part of Super Dispatch's transportation management system. However, after collecting extensive data from Central Dispatch, Super Dispatch began offering its Super Load Board. Super Load Board includes many of the same features as Central Dispatch, including shipment information, ratings, and a price recommendation. On information and belief, Super Dispatch has misappropriated trade secret information by acquiring that information through improper means and then using it without consent in connection with the development, operation, and or marketing of Super Load Board. Page 17, Super Dispatch's conduct has substantially injured Cox Automotive. Super Dispatch's false and misleading claims have caused or will cause harm to Cox Automotive's business, reputation, goodwill, sales, and profits, including, without limitation, by suggesting that Super Dispatch's Super Load Board is superior to Cox Automotive's Central Dispatch Load Board and inducing customers to use Super Load Board instead of Central Dispatch. By taking or copying Cox Automotive's trade secrets or directing others to take and copy the same, Super Dispatch has also unfairly competed with Cox Automotive and gained financial benefit to the detriment of Cox Automotive. Cox Automotive was deprived of the competitive advantages conferred by its efforts in developing Central Dispatch, and Super Dispatch has unfairly benefited from Central Dispatch data. The harm caused by Super Dispatch cannot be fully compensated by monetary remedies, is irreparable, and will only worsen if Super Dispatch is allowed to continue. Count 1. False ad and unfair competition under the Lanham Act. Super Dispatch's false, deceptive, and misleading advertising in interstate commerce violates Section 343A of the Lanham Act, 15 U.S.C. Code 1125A. Claims purporting to tout the superiority of Super Load Board platform in Super Dispatch's commercial advertising and or promotional materials. Super Dispatch has distributed false, deceptive, and misleading advertising claims in interstate commerce. Have the capacity to deceive shippers, carriers, and other customers in the auto transport industry, and are material to purchasing decisions for customers selecting a load board. We're now at the bottom of page 18 of 25. Cox Automotive will continue to be irreparably injured unless and until Super Dispatch's conduct is preliminarily and thereafter permanently enjoined by this court. Cox Automotive has no adequate remedy at law. Super Dispatch is engaged in intentional and willful violation of the Lanham Act, entitling plaintiff to enhanced damages and attorney fees and costs. Enjoined by the court means that a court has issued an injunction, which is a court order that prohibits someone from doing something. A permanent injunction, a final judgment that requires someone to do or stop doing something, a court will only issue a permanent injunction if monetary damages are not enough. Preliminary or temporary injunction is an order issued while a case is being considered. The Lanham Act is the primary federal law in the U.S. that governs trademark law. The Lanham Act also protects against some types of false advertising. To prove false advertising, plaintiffs must show that they were harmed by a false statement made about a product or service in interstate commerce. The Lanham Act gives courts the authority to remedy violations through injunctions and compensatory damages. The Lanham Act also gives the FTC the authority to request the cancellation of registered trademarks through the Patent and Trademark Office. Title 15, Commerce and Trade of 15 U.S. Code, false designations of origin, false descriptions. Any person who, on or in connection with any goods or services or any container for goods used in commerce, any word, term, name, or any false designation of origin, false or misleading description of fact, or false or misleading representation of fact, which is likely to cause confusion, cause mistake, or deceive as to the affiliation, connection, or association of such person with another person, or as to the origin, sponsorship, or approval of his or her goods, services, or commercial activities by another person, or in commercial advertising or promotion misrepresents the nature, characteristics, qualities, or geographic origin of his or her another person's goods, services, or commercial activities, shall be liable in a civil action by any person who believes that he or she is likely to be damaged by such act. Count 2. misappropriation of trade secrets under MUTSA, Missouri Revised Statute. The confidential customer list, pricing info, customer preferences, costs, and other compilations of confidential business information associated with Central Dispatch constitute trade secrets owned by Cox Automotive. Cox Automotive has taken reasonable efforts to maintain the secrecy of its trade secrets and has not consented to the use of any of its trade secrets or confidential information. In violation of the MUTSA, Super Dispatch has misappropriated Cox Automotive's trade secret information by acquiring that information through improper means, including through Super Dispatch Connection and Driver app, which induce Central Dispatch customers to breach their duty to maintain the secrecy of the information available through Central Dispatch. In violation of the MUTSA, acquiring that information using improper means and using it without consent in connection with the development, operation, and or marketing of Super Loadboard. While knowing or having reason to know that it was obtained from Central Dispatch customers who owed a duty to Central Dispatch to maintain its secrecy and limit its use. Page 20 mentions an evil motive or reckless indifference to the rights of Cox Automotive. Cox Automotive is entitled to recover enhanced damages under Missouri Revised Statute 417.4572. Missouri is one of the many states that follows the Uniform Trade Secrets Act, which provides generally that misappropriation of trade secrets may occur in any of three forms: improper acquisition, disclosure, or use. The MUTSA identifies two types of misappropriation: acquisition and disclosure and use. Acquisition of a trade secret of a person by another person who knows or has reason to know that the trade secret was acquired by improper means. Disclosure or use of a trade secret of a person without express or implied consent by another person who used improper means to acquire knowledge of the trade secret, at the time of disclosure or use, knew or had reason to know that knowledge of the trade secret was derived from and through a person who had utilized improper means to acquire it, acquired under circumstances giving rise to a duty to maintain its secrecy or limit its use. The MUTSA defines trade secret as information including but not limited to technical or non-technical data, formula, pattern, compilation, program, device, method, technique, or process that derives independent economic value, actual or potential, from not being generally known to and not being readily ascertainable by proper means by other persons who can obtain economic value from its disclosure or use. Count 3. Tortious interference with Cox Automotive's contracts and business relationships. Super Dispatch has intentionally and knowingly interfered with and is currently interfering with Cox Automotive's business relationships and valid business expectancies. Super Dispatch's actions are improper and neither justified nor excused, and Super Dispatch has acted and is acting with malice towards Cox Automotive. Count 4. Unfair competition. Super Dispatch took and or copied or directed others to take and or copy Cox Automotive's property and or trade secrets and misappropriated same in an effort to unfairly compete with Cox Automotive. Super Dispatch has obtained customers for its Super Load Board and other compensation that it would not have obtained its unfair competition and misuse. Count 5. Unjust enrichment. Cox Automotive unwillingly conferred a benefit upon Super Dispatch in the form of Cox Automotive's confidential, proprietary, and or trade secret information. Super Dispatch appreciated and had knowledge of the benefit conferred by Cox Automotive. Super Dispatch accepted and retained the benefit under circumstances in which such acceptance or retention is not equitable without payment for its value. In summary, Cox Automotive respectfully prays for relief as follows: for entry of judgment in favor of Cox Automotive against Super Dispatch on all counts raised in the complaint, for an injunction prohibiting Super Dispatch and its officers, agents, employees, attorneys, and all others in active concert of participating with them, pursuant to making false or misleading statements that Central Dispatch lacks a way of marking preferred carriers, making false or misleading statements that Central Dispatch's review system does not allow for detailed comments and for blocking individual carriers, making false or misleading statements regarding the availability of carriers for booking loads through Super Load Board and Central Dispatch, making false or misleading statements regarding the availability of telephone customer through Central Dispatch, for otherwise unfairly competing with Cox Automotive. For an order enjoining Super Dispatch and all persons or entities acting in concert or participation with them from accessing, obtaining, using, transmitting, or disclosing any of Cox Automotive's trade secrets or confidential information. for an order enjoining Super Dispatch and all persons or entities acting in concert or participation with them for tortiously interfering with Cox Automotive's contracts and business relationships. From unfairly competing with Cox Automotive, for an award to Cox Automotive for the damages incurred, profits obtained by Super Dispatch as a result of Super Dispatch's false advertising in an amount to be determined by the trier of fact. For enhanced damages and or profits awarded to Cox Automotive for corrective advertising damages and an order requiring Super Dispatch to engage in corrective advertising for exemplary damages for attorneys' fees, expenses, and costs incurred in this action. Sue, I'm going to go ahead and ask you to start your video and unmute. That was a lot. I can't hear you yet. I have no idea what's going on in the live chat. I have no idea how many people are watching.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, cool. We had 2 mutes going on.
Okay. Okay, so I did that in 30 minutes.
Wow.
I really went through this and redlined, since a lot of us already have some form of context, I tried to underline what I thought industry and someone who works in auto transport would already understand, and these are the highlights, rather than reading every word. We can go to the live chat, or you can ask me questions. We'll do live chat.
I think they've got some questions on there. Maybe we should do the live chat.
Do they? All right.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to the live chat. DDD said, I said it a few months ago, Central will end up buying Super. DDD says, sounds like Central doesn't like accountability and a little competition. Mike says, Cox doesn't ever like competition. Their goal is auto monopoly. Will, so they're suing Super after they likely upgraded Central to function exactly like Super. Gary, Super Dispatch is just the start. They'll go after all auto transport load boards that use the Chrome extension or API. Superfluo and Message Plane, beware. Hope SD will sort it out and won't be found guilty. And Elena misses you.
Hey, Elena.
Hey, Elena.
Miss you too.
Hey, listen, if this is your first time watching ATI, I'm glad you're with us. There is no other channel like ATI. There's a lot of podcasters out there that I think, are getting started or dipping a toe, got a microphone. That's not what I do. I have worked in media my whole life. I actually spent some time around lawyers, and I appreciate a good complaint. They're very interesting. You can learn a lot. And this is for news reporting and educational purposes. I think that anybody listening to this right now just learned something they didn't know about the law.
Yes.
So let's talk about that. What did you learn about the law that you didn't know? Well, I know. Anything.
A lot of mumbo jumbo in there. So
there is. Hey, legal mumbo jumbo is a thing.
Yes.
But it's also very interesting when you read a legal document, you begin to understand. I think of it like Legos. When you build something with Legos, or a house, or whatever you want to call it, you start with your foundation, and then you start adding, and so that you can, have the full structure. You need something that has a solid foundation.
Yeah.
That's what legal arguments have solid foundations, or at least the appearance of solid foundations. And I would say that this legal argument contains such building blocks of an argument building a foundation based on laws. Mm-hmm. And it also shows that when we enter commerce, there are laws, like when you're speeding,
right.
And let's say you're speeding and the guy says, did you know you were speeding? And you say, no, I didn't know that. He says, well, ignorance is what? Not irrelevant to the law.
2020, is that what they say?
So, but the point, I made a terrible analogy there, but the point is that ignorance is not a justifiable defense.
Right. That you didn't know. Correct.
That you didn't know. And so when we engage in, and this is a civil action, this is not a criminal action.
Right.
A civil action, right, is because it has to do with business.
Right. Right.
So civil actions are actually much harder to understand because they contain like tortious and all these different words and that's why even I pulled up case law, which is what it's referred to in my, I'm not a lawyer, but in my layman's understanding, case law is law that exists upon which arguments, complaints, and actually, like terms of use.
Right.
We have terms of use for every technology we use. We don't think about it.
You just push the button and you go.
Right, but it does exist. And if we violate terms of use, we may hear from the folks that own the technology. Yeah. So I think that's part of this. I do think that what's interesting is competition. Competition is almost in the eye of the beholder. True. We view competition in this as an organic thing. But that's not exactly how the law views competition. Yeah. And this is why I also say, because there are folks right now quoting scripture, verse, and law about things that they find important to them. And what I say is, be careful, because there are scriptures and law that you don't like, that you could be breaching right now. So we live in this very litigious society full of things that we have to navigate. All right, I gave a little speech there. So did you have any, we're not going to do a lot of speculation, but does anything stand out?
Well, first it started in April?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Huh? Well, I know some people know about it.
Yeah.
Some more people are talking about it. And I thought, I'm also not a big fan of speculation.
Right.
There's always three sides to every story.
True.
And I like to, what are the facts? Right? Can we get context? And I love that. I'll go to camera one. Thank you, Cox Automotive, and thank you, Super Dispatch, for both providing statements for me to read before the show.
Yep.
I find that, and this is once again proving this is the neutral zone.
Right.
Maybe the only one we really have.
Wow.
So, April 2024.
Yeah.
Did you read, Cox Automotive said in their statement that there was something about November. Did you see that?
Mm-mm.
Here, I'm going to do this.
November of this year, is that what you're saying?
So they said in their statement that I read before the show,
right there.
Cox Automotive filed an amended complaint in November 2024 after Super Dispatch brazenly escalated its illegal activities.
Oh.
So
just
in their view, not only are they not pulling back, but they're continuing to escalate.
Yeah.
And I think that I didn't know that. Because again, I'm only reading what's publicly available. You can't.
Right.
I don't think you can. I don't know. I'm sure there's some communications you can't, and I don't want anything that's not publicly available.
Right.
But then they just said that, so that's interesting too. And I think the comment in the live chat about competing back and forth. Okay, let's talk about it. Here's the elephant in the room. Super Dispatch had a mobile app.
Mm-hmm.
Created a mobile app in what? 2013, 2014, 2015?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay. That's when people began to know about it.
Yeah.
Cox Automotive did not have a mobile app that was known or used.
Right.
Now, they do own Ready Logistics, or I don't know the corporate structure there,
right.
But Ready Logistics has a mobile app, and Cox Automotive owns Ready Logistics.
Right.
That's why I have always wondered, I've said it on the show, why doesn't Cox take that Ready mobile app
and put it on Central?
Boost it up and put it on Central.
Right.
Which they have now done.
Right.
Does it matter what year they did it? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know. Can you say that Super did it first? I don't know. Did Ready Logistics mobile app exist before Super? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah.
But that's not the issue here. The issue, I think, is that Super had the mobile app. That mobile app was used to import, right? This is common knowledge.
Right.
You can import an order into the app, and that's helpful to the user. Is it a problem? I've always wondered. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does the user love it? Yeah, the users love it. And that is actually what Super Dispatch is saying. The users love this option, which is an interesting thing because I'm right now reading my bedtime story last night was Techion versus CDK Global. And as long as there's another lawsuit to look at, I'm going to report on it. They're fascinating. In the Techion, right? Who knows about this? Techion dealers do, and at NADA they'll all be talking about it. That and Honda and Nissan may be merging. Have you heard that? Yeah, it's crazy. This is crazy news. It's a crazy world. Anyways, now that Central Dispatch has introduced their mobile app and made their significant investment, some see that as a play against Super. Is it? Was it something that they were
already doing?
I mean, how many mobile apps are there? There's a lot of mobile apps.
And
how many load boards are there? There's a lot of load boards.
Yeah.
Do other load boards and mobile apps do some of the things that we're talking about here? I don't know. I don't know. And I think that's where we start to get closer to the line of just because a user wants it. You know, I mean, a user wants free crack on the streets, but can't do that. There's a user right now that wants that. So it's not about, that's the thing, it's not about, that's one of the legal instruments at play. And that's where, when you go into a courtroom and you're in front of a jury and you're presenting a legal argument, it doesn't matter what people on the street want.
Right.
You're in a legal arena, and it's not something we think about every day. And that's why, again, this complaint brings current, modern, contemporary belief systems into the legal arena. I don't know if we know what will happen.
For how long? Could be years.
And how will this affect people? I have no idea. I don't know any of that. I just know that when I heard about this and I saw it, I thought, this is news, and this will be helpful. Actually, this will be very helpful to many people to think about, check yourself, right? What are we doing? What are we thinking? What are we working on? Are we okay? That's why even at the beginning of this program, I double checked. Can I say these things? Yes. This is fair use of public information for news reporting, commentary, and teaching. Yes, I can do this. Beyond that, I don't know. And I'm curious, live chat. Thank you so much for saying hello and tuning in. I know we have a very wide audience today. I had some people say, "Hey Jay, I can't tune in. I got a meeting. I'd love to see this afterwards. Can I get a copy?" And like all videos, all ATI videos are available on the YouTube homepage for ATI Auto Business. Go to YouTube. You've already been there 5 times today. Go to YouTube, type in ATI Auto Business. I'll even share the URL. And comment and share and continue the conversation. It's clearly not over. And that was another thing. I really wanted to get this show in before 2025. Because we're going to find out more. It's been an interesting year already. 2024 has been a very interesting year in automotive technology. 2025 will prove to be even more interesting.
And then?
All right. Well, as you can imagine, I've been working very hard on this show.
Yes, I have no
I put
doubt.
a lot of time into this, and I appreciate everybody for tuning in. When next time you talk to somebody about a podcast, ask them, have you seen ATI? That's a podcast. Okay. All right. Anything else?
I don't think so. I think that pretty much sums it up.
All right. I think court is adjourned for the day. Yeah. I want to thank everybody so much for jumping into the live chat. Thank you very much. And I am looking forward to, I don't know, next steps. There's a lot to do. Thank you, Sue.
Yep.
Thanks, live chat. Do we end the show the same way?
I guess so, yeah.
By the way, make sure you tune in next Tuesday. So Sue is going to join me next Tuesday, Christmas Eve special live show at noon. It's a mix of automotive ecosystem meets industry logistics. And we have outfits.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Probably not as good as Halloween, but you know.
Yeah, probably not as good as Halloween. That was a good show. Yeah. So we have culture too. All right. What do we say, office?
Goodbye, Sue.
Goodbye, Sue. Thanks, everybody. Take care. We'll see you again soon. Peace out.
See ya.
Okay, bye.